It was the debut of Luca Cagnoni. Georgi Romanov makes his starting debut, and a good friend of San Jose returns home. Was it for the last time? We'll see. Let's talk hockey right now here on Teal Town After Dark. Good evening, everyone. It is March 20th, 2025. The San Jose Sharks lose to the Carolina Hurricanes, the juggernaut that they are, where the head coach can probably bench a lot more than his own players can. By a score of 3-1, we welcome you to this edition of Teal Town After Dark, your live interactive Sharks post game. We do this after every game, so glad to have you with us. And if you want to be part of the show, here's how you do it. Chat with us and fellow hockey fans all over the world and in Sharks territory on the YouTube page or the app. And if you want to hit us up on the Twitter or the Blue Sky or the Threads, we gift those games. Thanks to Felix. Appreciate you, bud. And find everything at tealtownusa.com for now. And if you want to support the pod, you can do so by hitting us up at Venmo at tealtownusa, or if you're watching us live, you can give us a super chat love. And if you're watching us on replay, leave a comment down below what you thought of the game tonight. And with that, I say to the other guy who spells his name the right way, who's camera shy, it's Eriks Landi. Okay, I got to ask. So your screen's on the other side, right? That's
right.
Okay.
Yeah. So remember, I'm in a little bit of the Exodus mode right now. So at the beginning or the end of last year, I ended up having to move out of excuse me, of my my lady friend's house, and no longer being my lady friend. And we ended up I ended up coming back here to my house, my parents' house here in San Diego. And now I'm going to be moving back home to the Bay Area. So, kind of full circle. But anyways, how that relates to where I'm at and why my camera is like this, the angle, that's because I'm actually currently in Puck Mom or Hockey Mom. Excuse me. That's your mom. Puck Mom's your mom.
What do you, what? Landy, you're here? Where are you?
Oh. My mom's Hockey Mom. She likes to be called Hockey Mom. Your mom's Puck Mom. So we won't get that confused.
No.
And anyhow, I'm in her study and decided to put on the locker room picture that we took when we got our tour way back when.
Way back when. And nothing's changed, so that works too. But some things do change, and we'll get to that as a
debuts, right? I mean,
yes,
debuts change.
Yes, Luca Cagnoni and Georgi Romanov. I'll get it right, I swear, because we got to talk about the goaltending tonight, because I thought he played a pretty good game. And Luca Cagnoni making his NHL debut. For Romanov, it's his first NHL start against Brent Burns and the Carolina Hurricanes. I don't know if you saw it on the Twitter machine, how Burns, he got some love for the Canes Twitter. Really liked how they were like, oh yeah, he's very loved in these parts. I'm like, yes, he is.
I mean, but it's the argument between who is the best Sharks defenseman. If we think about the Mount Rushmore of just Sharks defensemen, because we could talk about the Mount Rushmore of the Sharks ad nauseum. But you think of guys like, of course, Burnsy comes to mind, but you also think Dan Boyle. You also think, of course, of the Tree. What's his face? Come on, help me, Eric. Latvian guy, the Tree.
Sandis Ozolinsh?
Yeah, Ozolinsh. There we go. Yeah. And then, of course, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the original Sharks captain, Doug Wilson. So, there are quite a few, but Burnsy's time here in San Jose was meteoric. right? And when he was paired on the ice with Joe Thornton, whether that was in a defensive capacity or as a winger, him and Burnsy, I mean, were just two wild men, and Burnsy, the thing that we loved about watching Burnsy was that wild ha ha, that he does on the ice. He does that big old, yeah, exactly, that Wookiee call. And it's sorely missed, and you wonder, if a guy like that would have been a good idea to keep around. I mean, especially for now that we've seen kind of what the return was on Burnsy, and I think we can see the postmortem of it. I mean, would the Sharks be in a better position now, at least just for shepherding along the new kids, if they had a guy like Burnsy around still? I don't know. I think it's a good question to ask, especially with how defensively poor the team has played. I mean, not as, of course, not as anything as bad as last season.
Yeah.
This season, we've still seen that this blue line needs to take significant steps in order for the team to grow.
Sure, but I kind of agree with TLBT in here, is that you had to let Burns try to get a cup,
Yeah,
which
of course,
still
that's the
happened.
human. Yeah, the
Yeah.
human element of it, right? I mean, you want to see him win it. I mean, just because of the career, the longevity, I mean, the type of player he is, the way he's played. Yeah, we'd love to see Burnsy lift a cup, even if it's not here. Well,
Yeah.
of course, it won't be here.
Michael Johnston, Burns was a beast in his prime. Hell yeah. I mean, that guy was great. Quick backstory. I know we got to get to the game, but quick backstory was he reached out to fans upon being traded, just it's like, hey, let's go on bike rides. Hey, I need a logo. You can reach me out. And, I reached out to him, and we talked a little bit, and then hooked me up with tickets in the suite for a game, and that was a blast. Great guy. I mean, always been great with the fans too. Even I know AJ would be remiss about mentioning, hey, let me customize the name. Now, who knows if that's to make sure you don't sell it on eBay, but I mean, to have two Eric Brent Burns, I mean, that would be freaking awesome. So
yeah, I mean, think about it too. I mean, we talk about how good he is with the fans, and just how good of a human he is, but I think even more so. I mean, he's in veteran. He does a lot of veteran assistance things. He does a lot of like wildlife conservation things. He's just got so many different interests, and he's just an all around great human being. You see the way that he raises his kids and the way that he is with his wife. I mean, we say it over and over and over again that hockey players are some of the best people, they're salt of the earth. And as far as athletes go, on the very, very low end of egos. And with a guy like Brent Burns, I mean, not only does he put in the time with the fans, but he does the extra mile. He's like, go support your veterans, whether that's Canadian veterans or American veterans. He, again, an animal lover, which I mean,
well,
like that's to put it mildly. I don't know. Just you can't say enough about the individual. You just can't. Yeah. You just can't. Just such a great guy, and I hope that when it's done, he hangs it up as a Shark. When they do the 1 day thing, and they hang it up. And I mean, I don't know that he'll get his number retired, because I just don't think he had the long, the period of length of a career.
Yeah,
but you think about a guy who deserves to be in like a Ring of Honor kind of thing, right? If the Sharks ever did a Ring of Honor, certainly Brent Burns would be top of that list for me.
Yep. Though completely agree on all of that. But his current team, Carolina, was coming in winning 7 in a row, facing a Sharks team that had lost recently, 5-1 to the Washington Capitals. Had a few days off to get ready, changed lines up a little bit. You had Colin Graff coming into the top line with Celebrini and Toffoli to see how that goes. So. Plus, of course, like we mentioned, the debut of Cagnoni and the first NHL start for Georgi Romanov. And things started to go well, although Not gonna lie, Landy. I'm gonna have to say there are a lot of people who call uh, William Eklund slippery Pete, and I have to say that this goal is the epitome of slippery Pete, and Brent Burns for that matter, with his starfish defensive posture.
A guy like Eklund is so interesting to me because he was kind of that, I won't say false start, but he was in that first wave of rebuild, right? Where the Sharks tried to toe the line a little bit between, having competitive players and this just to talk about this goal a little bit quickly. I mean, just seeing him crash the net, that he's evolved in that regards as a player this year, which I really, really have liked to see. He's much more stronger on the puck than he was as a rookie. I mean, even so from last year, he's improved upon his game. But you think about a guy like Eklund, right, who was at the start of the rebuild, and like I said, that the first couple years where it was DW Jr. running the draft, and it kind of bled into Greer's tenure. It's a little bit of a blend there between the draft boards. However, that being said, a guy who right now is keeping up with Celebrini, and you wonder, okay, you thought maybe Will Smith and Macklin were Jumbo and Patty, if you wanted to make a reference or a call back to old Sharks. I don't know if it might be more so Eki and Macklin being Jumbo and Patty, or what I like a little bit more, because I think Eklund is a little bit more like this, especially in his elusiveness. He reminds me a little bit of Pavel Datsyuk. He has a little bit of that magicianness in him, a little bit of those silky hands. And you think about Hank Zetterberg and Pavel Datsyuk and the 1-2 that they were. So it bodes well that the Sharks have three real good core pieces that I think you look and project out. I think you could see all three of them be 100-point players. I think Macklin for sure. I think I've got to see a little bit more from Smith to really declare him a 100-point player. But I think Eki is really, really showing me that he pushes, and if he's got somebody that can roll with him and push play with him, ceiling is very, very high for Eki, and which we didn't see before because I think he was being shadowed by some of the talent that was surrounding him.
Yeah, it's just one of those times where I think where the focus isn't on Eklund, and he's taking advantage of it. And it's nice because that's his 15th goal of the season, a shorthanded goal, mind you. He gets to the 50-point plateau for the first time in his career. Last year, he had a career high 45 points. You start to see that maturity and doing everything. He's on the PK, he's on the power play. Doing every little thing. Not just that, but kind of just doing everything. And I don't want to say leader, but you could start seeing the desire of knowing that you're one of those guys that everybody's going to be looking up to down the road. So that made it 1-0. That's
not even down the road, Pucka. I think now. I think he's taking that mantle now. Just from what we've seen, how he's grown as a leader this year, and I mean, it really shows. One, when the trade deadline happened, and you had a guy like Fabian Zetterlund who was just him and Granlund he was close to both of them, but Zetterlund and him were very close, and for him to say what he did, speak up a little bit, not only that, but also play pretty tenaciously, says a lot about him. It says a lot.
No, you're correct there. I mean, yeah, the whole thing with the Zetterlund definitely changed things for him and everything. I want to say, and people correct me if I'm wrong, that's his first goal since the deadline.
It is, yeah, second point since the trade.
Yeah, I believe he got an assist Yes, against the Chicago Blackhawks for the win. No, I take that back. He had a goal and a. Oh no, that was the night before the trade. He had a goal and assist in Colorado. But yeah, that was his first goal since the trade. That made it 1-0 after 20. And you're thinking, okay, not too bad, not too bad at all. Simcast kind of agreeing with us in this case. Carolina looked like in the first half of game. The game was so boring, but then you realize they wait in the wings for you to make mistakes.
And they're a volume team, right? It's they'll beat you in the aggregate kind of. It's just mass volume of shooting. And so as long as they are consistently putting, at least 15 shots on goal per period, between 10 and 15 shots. I mean, that's kind of what their whole philosophy is how to play the game is to volume shoot. So whether that's the first half of the period getting your shots in the second half of the period, Carolina just knows how to turn it on. It's for them, it's beating out elite talent, and I think that's has always been the crux. They've been a great systematic team, but they've been a team that if you have a superstar player, you can break the back.
I completely agree. I think that's Carolina's. Wait, it's almost like I hate to use the Shark Head entrance song, but that's like seek and destroy. It's like wait for it. Okay, now we know where we can get you and take advantage of it. And they would in the second period. Seth Jarvis would get the tying goal about midway through regulation. A nice snapper that beat Romanov, which I was kind of like, okay, he's doing pretty good. And I didn't want to say the word, but then he made it 1-1. And then they looked like they had made it 2-1. Carolina looked like they made it 2-1, but then this play just a teeny bit offside. I'm like, no, not quite. Sorry, no. But it's
well. So let's talk about this though. I mean, I think it was interesting because during the broadcast, Drew was a little critical of Muka Madulin. He was like, "Yeah, he was a little out of position in there." But then, upon further review, saw that Mookie did just enough of a bypass on the player and just enough of a, I don't know, he kind of he disrupted his timing a little bit, and
that's
disrupted it
perfect how you
enough.
put that there. Yep.
Yeah, just enough so that he could make sure that the puck was behind the line before or after the player crossed. So I think there was a little bit of subtle defensive play there from Mookie that we need to call out, because I don't think it was a complete bust. Now, after he makes his move to disrupt the timing a little bit, he puts himself out of position, and that's really what leads to the almost goal, we'll call it. But again, it's those little types of plays kind of go to show you that, okay, they're starting to learn a little bit. They're starting to learn a little bit of the nuances of how to defend against systematic teams, and doing just enough in this instance is exactly what he it would work out for him. So again, I think it shows that there's a little bit of growth there, but also a little bit of regression, right? So right to was it 2 steps back or 1 step back to go 2 steps forward. So yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those ones like, okay, you did good. However, if that play was onside, you just burned your goalie a little bit. So it's one of those things where, you kind of rush it, and like Aaron Jack saying, you can't rush the rebuild. You can't rush them getting that development and that mindset going for it, because, things like that will happen, i.e. Mirko Mueller. But overall, Sharks dodged the bullet there. 1-1. Huge kudos to Nick Gialdini for doing that. I think Sharks PR tweeted out that Warsofsky is 8. Did I lose Landy? Uh-oh. There he is.
Landy's here.
Okay. I was just making sure you're good. But I think Warsaw's like 8 for 11 on challenges this year. And it just harkens back to the days of PDB where I swear he lost every damn challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look. I mean, tonight the video coach did really well, so I'm glad that they were able to catch that and able to save the bacon of Mookie there a little bit.
Oh yeah.
But you know what? It was kind of a harbinger of things to come, right? Because Carolina just continued to put the pedal to the metal.
Yeah, I mean they've been looking good, and the third period comes Sebastian Aho with a I think it's the cliche seeing eye shot. Just
laser beam.
Yeah. And we need Sharks with laser beams attached to their heads because it just was like, oh, tough luck there to make it 2-1. That would eventually be the game-winning goal. And then, of course, Sean Walker from the blue line beats Romanov. Had some traffic in there as well to make it 3-1. The Sharks would get a power play late. Couldn't do anything. Simcast Graffers, when T goes in, maybe it's a different game, but you need to beat the Canes 1-0 or 2-1 or you lose. Yep. So let's talk about it. Since we were talking about little Luca looking great in teal, I think we also had Mike D saying we found an NHL ready 5'9", 20-year-old power play quarterback in this game. What did you think of Cagnoni in his debut?
Well, kind of reminded me of a little of not a little, but kind of reminded me somewhat of a friend, of a former friend. Definitely got the Dan Voyle vibes as far as the way in which he plays the game, the way in which he's efficient in his motion. He doesn't overextend himself. He knows where to place himself in the defensive zone, and he knows when to let his larger partner take over for him. And if he's going to have success, he needs to really model his game after Hughes, and really play that style of game where I don't think it was any type of coincidence that we happen to have our largest blue liner paired with him. So,
yes.
So
waiting for that picture.
Yeah. So I think, honestly, if he can continue to utilize his defensive partner to, get him out of situations that are calls for more physical play, I think he's going to do well. And I think he did not look out of place tonight, which I think for a defenseman, that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, and Booty Bandit is right, Cagnoni. It's so tough to just see that G and just want to go Cagnoni on there. So my bad. I'm waiting for the text message from Kevin Lacey, to be quite honest, but thank you, Cagnoni. And he had 23-15 of ice time. He led the defense in time on ice tonight. In fact, just looking at the box score, Landy, the top three defensemen for time on ice tonight weren't on this team opening night. Desharnais at 21-28, Liljegren at over 21 minutes, Cagnoni at 23-15. So it's interesting to see how that is. And granted, you don't have Ruda, you don't have Thrun, you don't have Vlasic. So the three defensemen that are here or were here and dealing with injuries, doing their thing. And we mentioned it before. McMillan had his ups and downs tonight. Schultz, playing the role of Joachim Ryan, only just got a little bit under 14 minutes of ice time. So, and Mario Ferraro was a -2 at 18 minutes of ice time. And I know there's some critical things on Mario's standpoint, but this is the decor we're gonna have to go with for the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think, put it to you this way, I don't know that the Sharks are really going to be looking to move Mauro Ferraro if they didn't move him at the deadline, right? I mean, he had probably his greatest value at this trade deadline, and Greer decided not to move him. Yes, he'll be, an unrestricted next season, and he's got one more season left with the Sharks. So you would think that he could also be a prime candidate for being shipped off next year. Yeah. However, this year would have been peak value because it's traditional that if you have an extra year on your contract and you trade for him at the trade deadline, it normally fetches you a little bit more because of that extra year of team control. Mm-hmm. So I think he's gonna be. I think he's looked at as part of the continuing growth here, as maybe being a little bit more of the veteran presence, but young enough to shepherd along, a guy like Luca Cagnoni or a guy like Cagnoni or just any one of the young blue liners, Thompson or Thrun. So I don't know. This trade deadline, I think, kind of opened my eyes a little bit to where Greer's weaknesses are as a GM, and what I think he's thinking. And I think that somewhere in his brain, he thinks that that 26, 27, 28 kind of player is maybe more valuable than we think they are as fans. Right. So that's what I'm concerned about. But yeah, you could see semblances of good pieces on this blue line. I think, like I said, we've got the makings of a few really good touch-tone defensemen. But I think the verdict is still out on a few others. So again, it's just kind of a patchwork, and like you said, this is kind of what we got going forward, and there's not very many games left, so they got to use this opportunity to start nailing down spots for next season.
Yeah,
and making a mark, because there's going to be even more competition come the off season for blue line positions.
Yeah, I mean, the chat's blowing up in regards of what's next. Mike D saying, what are the chances we trade for a young defenseman this offseason, whether we draft Schaefer or not? I don't know, and who knows how costly it will be, especially around the draft time. Simcast. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? I mean, Greer has hinted. He hinted at the media availability that it might be time to start utilizing the assets, the trade assets, and to convert them into players. Right. So I don't know that he wouldn't get a wild hair and move down. Because I don't think the player is generational, right? I don't think the player is Macklin Celebrini level of prospect. This coming prospect, yeah, he's going to be a good defenseman, and I think he'll be a defenseman that you can anchor around. But is he like, the next Erik Karlsson or the next, Brent Burns or that type of a impact defenseman? Who knows? I mean, it's lottery chips.
It's true, but I just don't mind me while I dream of the power play as Cagnoni sends it back over to Sam Dickinson, back over to Smith, back to Celebrini, scar.
But then there's going to be the side that says, well, you can only hoard so many of these prospects before you need to have proven players surrounding them, and last time I checked, there wasn't 7 spots on the D. And I'm looking at this as, okay, you still have Vlasic for another year, so you gotta figure out what you're gonna do there. You've got Ferraro under the contract. You've got Thrun. You've got Thompson. Now you got Cagnoni, Luca Cagnoni, Dickinson next year. And then if you add another defenseman, I mean, that's 8 right there. I mean, 8 viable defensemen just right there. So again, I think at some point you've got to start to take the young pieces or the pieces that you think are going to be the most compatible of a nucleus together, and then you got to start, you got to start converting those other pieces into areas, of weakness, and turning them into areas of strength, utilizing your areas of strength that you already have.
Right. And you're going to eventually run into the problem of, yeah, you're running out of space for these guys, but also this is the time for them to be competitive to make the team. And granted, Semcast kind of alluding to what I was thinking about in the offseason. I thought we'd go for Eklund, but with the banned substance thing, I'm not so sure anymore. He's a stud right-handed defenseman. Completely agree with all of that, but I'm not so sure about it now. We'll see. I mean, obviously, Mike Green needs to spend money, and that's been well documented. But he needs to spend it smart. Let's not get into an 8-year deal with Hurdle like we did. Not get into a deal with Carlson where the contract sucks to the point where you're still going to eat it for a few more years. But it's a tough call. It's gonna be something. And yes, I know Molasses like, notice how you didn't say Schaefer, Eric. Yeah, here's the thing. There's that too, and whether it takes a couple of years for him to develop or he comes in right now, that's a big one. I
don't think Schaefer's ready for NHL time just yet. I mean, I think he's going to be kind of like Dickinson, right? I mean, you look at Dickinson and where he's at now, and you're like, thank goodness we kept them, there for, a season, because look at how he's tearing up the AHL. I mean, excuse me. Excuse me. I don't know where I'm at the moment. Yeah, OHL. I mean, so again, he's leading his league in defensive points. I mean, just crazy. So again, we can't stress that it takes extra time for defensemen to ripen, right? And I don't know that taking a defenseman there he lines up exactly with what the Sharks need at the moment, right? I think the need is to get better on the blue line now. And so if you draft a guy like Schaefer, you're looking at 2 to 3 years. Not to mention that there's still question as whether Schaefer's the number 1 overall pick or not. I tend to think he is. He's done enough to show me that he is, but Misa has shot up in the ranks too. So I don't know.
It depends on, one, if the Sharks win the draft lottery, 2, whoever does win the draft lottery does their thing, goes from there. I think that's pretty much said. But AJ, of course, making the big thing, not a single Sharks defenseman is signed beyond next season. So
yeah. I mean, there's a change coming, right?
The change is going to happen no matter what. Future considerations. Yes, that's 2026 Sharks pick is likely a high pick still. Yeah,
I love that user. I love that username.
Yeah, future considerations.
Yeah.
So now we know where they went.
Yeah.
We're sorry we traded you to Detroit.
Yeah, we got you or we traded you for Walman, huh?
Yeah. But I mean, just to finish this up, but it's like, this is the thing, is that, yeah, there's going to be pain. There might be a little more pain next season, but next season is the start of the year that they need to
starts the clock. I think it really does. It really, I think next year is the official start of the I hate to say it, but it's probably a 2-year clock, right? I think Greer has probably got 2 seasons to show that, okay, this rebuilding era, I mean, you got to point the ship north somehow, and right now the team point wise is eerily similar to where they were last year. Yeah, they might be a little bit better, and I mean, look, the differential is way better, but still it still leaves a lot to be desired as for where the team is going.
And it's only going up. At least I hope. That's how I look at it down the road, so we put a bow on this one. The Sharks lose 3-1 to the Carolina Hurricanes. Yeah, and AJ's spot on. Sharks need to be a bubble team next season, or Greer's seat starts to get warm. Hasso ain't getting younger. Yep, and Hasso wants to win one. So,
and then not to
but
mention,
I don't think you should. Sorry, don't mean to cut you off, but I mean, I think you need to make progress, but I don't think you try to find assets to plug in to go for, a playoff push.
well, I mean, and the other thing too is, I mean, the Sharks, I mean, yes, Celebrini will be an RFA in 2 years, and he'll go up for his first contract. It'll most likely be some type of bridge deal like the Sharks normally do with their young players. It's just kind of what they do traditionally. So even in that third year of his rookie deal, you really want to start seeing the team be north of, I don't know. I mean, I would agree with AJ. I think they got to be a bubble team. I think if they're not a bubble team by year 3 of Macklin's deal, his last year of his rookie deal, then it's going to be wasted time, in my opinion. And you cannot waste this kid's time because he's that kind of a competitor. He's going to want to play where they've got good players surrounding him. And you can only take so much. I mean, look at Connor McJesus.
Yeah, but I mean, but a guy like Connor McJesus and San Ramon's Austin Matthews, they got a payday quickly, and I think that's probably where Celebrini's deal will eventually end up. Kind of like saying with the TLBT, Celebrini is not that typical Sharks young player, though.
That is true. We haven't had it.
ASAP.
Yeah, we haven't had a player like him. I mean, even Hurdle was good, but he wasn't. He wasn't Macklin. I mean, Macklin's just in a different echelon, right? So,
yeah. A couple comments from the locker room. We'll go with what Shang has tweeted out. Cagnoni on make it to the NHL. It's pretty surreal. Definitely where I started my career, like not getting drafted in the WHL. I wish I could tell you I expected it this year, but honestly, I didn't. Kind of came into the year hoping to get some AHL and see what happens, but it's been a pretty unreal first year pro. So that nice to have coming from a guy who's maybe wasn't expecting, but he's had a dynamite season for the CUDA. I think it was Liz Piles who tweeted out that like four former or current CUDA players lead the AHL in defensive scoring.
Yeah, and but I mean, not only that, but the AHL is a tough league. I mean, to play defense in. So being 5'9" and doing as well as he's doing, in the A, give him props. He certainly looks like an NHL player to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. And next up for the Sharks will be the Boston Bruins on Bay Area Night, Valkyries night. You might notice a basketball theme when you check back in with us tomorrow, or on Saturday. So we'll see on that. But still a tough one to take. It's a 2-goal loss, so that doesn't help things any better. But those little things you hope come around and eventually turn into bright spots in the future years to come. So we'll put things to the bed here. Will you be well? TLBT. I kind of mentioned that earlier. He's.
Yep, I think so. I think Mr. Landi will be getting himself a shark pack for next season. So yeah, I think you'll be seeing me a little bit more around the tank and around town, and happy to be home.
Be nice to see you, bud, and appreciate you. So, in case you missed anything, or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com. Or if you got your podcast, the audio version will be up in a little bit. you're watching us live, hit that like button on the way out the door. Hit that subscribe button, of course. And if you are watching the replay, leave a comment down below as to what you thought of this game. Really helps us get back into the algorithm. It would be really appreciated. So thank you very much to each and every you joining us. One graphic I got to show, I mean, Luca Cagnoni, a 20-year-old, but I mean, he's like the youngest Sharks defenseman to make its debut since 98, 99. I mean, that's just crazy to think about it, but that's the trend. That's a trend, and they might be tough, but they might look a little rough, but like Drew, yeah, you're gonna get rough soon. Yes. Wait, what was that, Drew? Wait, come on, one more time. Oh, come on, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Yeah, that's right, Drew. I am tough, Drew Amanda. Yes. Landy, your final thoughts before we get out of here.
Oh, final thoughts. I think it could have played a worse game against Carolina. Carolina is a very, very good team, and the thank you, Jerry F, for the super chat. Appreciate it. And yeah, thanks for the great coverage as usual. Well, we appreciate you, and thank you for being a great fan as usual. But no, just my final thoughts. I think I want to see the team really start to buckle down a little bit more defensively. They played a good enough defensive game, I think, tonight, had they not played a team like Carolina. But again, I think they've got to show that they've got to be able to clamp it down a little bit more. And I think I would like to see them build on that here in the last handful of games. As far as where you can find me, you can use my first name, that's Erik, last name Landi, across all the social media garbage. And yeah, that's about it from me.
Yep. He's at Kuhre Landi. I'm at Puckeye14. Ooh, water came up a little bit out there. We'll be back with you on Saturday. I don't know who it is Saturday, but it's against the Boston Bruins. So be on the lookout for that. Appreciate each and every one of you joining us. And until then, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. Have a great night, everyone. We will see you Saturday night following Sharks and Bruins. Good night, everyone.